Cherries have been a garnish for mixed drinks for centuries. In modern days, we're normally going to be seeing those neon red cherries that you get out of a jar, maraschino cherries. Thankfully, we're starting to get back to the original style of candied cherries people would have put in cocktails, a maraschino cherry. Welcome to the Cocktail Spirit from Small Screen Network. I'm your host, Robert Hess. We're doing a set of episodes that'll show you ways to improve the cocktails you make, whether you're a bartender at a professional bar or you're a home mixologist making drinks for your friends. Now, cherries have been around for a long time, and they've been an ingredient in cocktails as a garnish for quite a while too. In the 1800s, they were fairly popular for a wide variety of drinks, from the Manhattans to the Bijou to various other drinks going on back then. And back then, they were using natural cherries that were sugared and then aged in a brandy or a rum or some other spirit. And during the late 1800s, people started feeling this temperance movement happen and trying to avoid that alcohol product. And so when they're using these cherries for things other than cocktails, they wanted to use something that was not an alcohol-derived product. And so the modern maraschino cherry came about in the very early 1900s. As a matter of fact, back in those days, it actually had to call itself imitation maraschino cherries because they weren't the real maraschino cherries that people were using prior to that. The modern maraschino cherries, and I'm using the term maraschino versus maraschino to differentiate the two, maraschino referring to the modern neon red cherries and maraschino to refer to the more richer in syrup sort of cherry I'm going to be using today. The maraschino cherry was basically designed to pull out all of the flavor and color out of the cherry as well as solidify the form. So rather than being a mushy cherry, it had a nice strong form that stayed on it further. And then they pumped in sugars, artificial color, artificial flavor in order to bring it back to the neon red we see today. It was in the mid 2000s, like 2005, 2006, that we started seeing maraschino cherries come on the market. They were extremely hard to find. And then Audrey Saunders at the Pegu Club in New York started trying to find out where she could get more of these in. They were just coming into specialty kitchen stores, and she actually contacted the Luxardo company and got them to start importing the cherries for bartenders, which had not been done before. The maraschino cherries are better because they have more of a richer flavor, and the syrup is actually something you can use in the cocktail itself, where you wouldn't want to use necessarily the syrup that's in the neon maraschino cherries. To illustrate that, I'm actually going to be doing a cocktail that was created by Audrey Saunders to use the maraschino cherry properly in the drink. It's called the Little Italy. We start out with 2 ounces of rye whiskey, 3/4 ounce of sweet vermouth, and then a 1/2 ounce of Cynar. As you can see, there's a fair amount of similarity between this and a Manhattan, but the Manhattan doesn't have the Cynar in it. The Cynar is adding the bitter flavor that the Angostura bitters would add to it, but it's not being a bitters, it's just like a bitter liqueur instead. Now we're going to stir this with ice. And we're going to strain it into our cocktail glass. Now before we add our garnish, I'm actually going to take the jar of Luxardo maraschino cherries and get some of the syrup in my bar spoon and drizzle that into the glass. It's going to puddle up a little bit at the bottom of the glass, but as you drink it, it's actually going to mix into the drink not only providing some of that flavor throughout the drink, but then providing a nice little bit at the end that you can really enjoy. And then of course we garnish that with a Luxardo Maraschino cherry. And there we have the Little Italy, a drink that celebrates the Luxardo Maraschino cherry.